Okay, I better get this thing cleaned up.
What are you doing? Oh my God, you're making a big mess.
What? I'm sorry.
Good morning, DIY community. My name is Bill Strand, and I am here with the one, the only Mr. James Cross.
What's
Hello,
up,
Mr.
Bill?
Cross.
How's it going, buddy?
You know what? I am ready to do some cool stuff today, but I heard something, and
What'd
I
you
see
hear?
something. Apparently, you got something fun in the mail.
Can you believe it?
What the heck is up
You
with
know,
that?
we did that episode a couple of weeks ago um, with that awesome way of using resins to make a freaking feeder cup.
I remember that. That was with Marsha Ipson.
And I'll tell you what, I went down to the mailbox today and I saw this in there and I go, this looks familiar. And then it had her name on it. And I was like, you have got to be
What?
kidding me.
What?
So we're going to open up this there little box.
Are we doing unboxing?
An unboxing at the beginning of the show.
Okay, all right.
Oh, and it came with a letter. And the letter says, thanks for all you do for the chameleon community, Marcia.
Oh man, you're getting fan mail?
I know. What the heck? Oh my goodness. Wait till you see this thing, Bill. Look at that cute little label.
Oh yeah.
Huh? She's all professional.
For those who are
Wow.
just joining us, we had an interview with Marsha Ipson, who makes feeder run cups, sells them on Etsy, and she makes them out of resin. She actually created molds, and she pours resin in. It is a very unique way to create products, and so we had her on telling us all how to do it ourselves. She does it out of her garage. All right.
She's got a cute little card here with explanations and a way to hang it on the
Oh, look at
back.
that.
And look at this thing, Bill.
That is beautiful.
My perfect color for the inside of my enclosure. Wow! I just special shout out. Thank you so much, Marcia. Thank you
And
for
of
all
course,
you do for the community. Yay!
I got mine right here.
Awesome.
All right. Oh, oops. All right. Well then, let's go ahead and get to the meat of the episode today. Today we're going to be talking about RO units, and this is reverse osmosis. Us in the chameleon community, we do a lot of misting, a lot of fogging, and if we use the typical tap water, all depends on where you are. We get all these calcium spots, mineral spots all over, and it's ugly. But more so, it clogs up our misters, and it gives a really ugly residue over on the foggers. And so the way to get around this is to use RO water, reverse osmosis water. And basically, what this is water that has been filtered everything out of it. And so, using RO water is really nice for our chameleons. And I use RO water. James uses RO water. And today, what we're going to do is talk about how you can use RO water. We're going to start off with me giving a little bit of a background on what it is. And then James is going to talk about how we install and use it. So, basically, all you need to know is that with to create RO water, we're taking water from your tap that has chlorine and minerals, calcium, and all that kind of stuff, and we are going to push it through a number of filters. Your first filter is a sediment filter, and that's going to take out the anything big, like any sort of debris or things that we want to get out of the water. The second one is your carbon filter, and that's going to take out your chlorine and all these chemicals. And then it starts going through the RO process. And all of this requires pressure. And so we're just pushing water through. Now, when it gets to the RO stage, it is going to, the water is going to be separated into the purified water and the water that holds all sorts of impurities, and that's your wastewater. Unfortunately, the RO system is not entirely efficient, and you end up with 1 part clean water and about 3, 4 parts water that's just wastewater. So it does take a lot of water to do it. But the takeaway from here is that it's a pressure driven system. There's no electricity necessary as long as you've got pressure from the city. If you've got a pump and you need to create pressure, you got to get a pump. But if you're hooking it up to the city, you have enough water, enough pressure from the city to push this all through. This is a very easy system to set up. You can get them off of Amazon. In fact, I'll go ahead and put a link down in the description of the system that I use. The biggest challenge is that most of these are offshore products, and so the instructions that you get are horrendously inadequate. And so that's the only the only issue. Is you're sitting there, oh, how do I put this all together? And you look for the instructions. It's bad. It's really bad. So, but let's go ahead and say you buy this system. It's like what for 100, 200, up to $300, and you get these three. You get different size systems, and that's just how many rounds of filtration is included. Of course, the more rounds of filtration, the cleaner the water. And there's also another feature that you need to take a look at a spec. It's how many gallons per day that it can create. The system I got is 100 gallons per day, and it takes me about an hour and a half to fill up a 5-gallon jug. So, all right. So, James, let's go to you. Let's assume that someone has purchased one of these RO units. It gets there's a box sitting there. What do you do at that point?
You open the box, Bill.
That's why we have experts here.
Yeah, you got to get the box open because you get the parts out.
Dude, I don't know, James. How do you do that?
I use a razor knife.
Whoa.
Huh? You got to be careful with these things, though. They're sharp, Bill. They will cut.
But those are professional tools.
They cut. What I usually do, Bill, is I'll open up the box and I'll lay all the parts out on the floor, and then I get out those miserable instructions and I try to cipher it.
Give yourself some time to do it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, there's only really 3 connections that are super important to be made. Actually 4. No, I think it's 3. You've got an inlet, you've got an outlet, you've got a pressure tank, and you've got there's 4, and you've got a discharge for the bad water, and they're all color coded, so it's pretty simple to put the systems together.
Okay.
You want more? You want more?
Okay, so let's go ahead and assume that we've now assembled the unit. So where we have this unit, it's got all the filters on it, and actually it's not that hard to do it. Once you filter through all the garbage that they try to pass off as assembly instructions, and you figure it out, it's actually pretty simple. So
I'm going to take us over to mine, Bill. Mine's outside. Okay. I know this wasn't part of the program, but I think I'm going to take us over to mine, and we can just look at how I've mounted it on the side. Don't look at all the extra stuff because, James, I'm a little I overkill everything. So I'm coming out here, and so what I've done is I've installed mine on the outside of the house. I'm going to kneel down here. If I can't get back up, I'll need some assistance.
I will just record a couple of episodes while you're down there.
Okay. Okay, so here's what I've done with my RO system. Okay, and I got a 5-stage. It was $200 and something delivered from Home Depot. It took 3 days to get to my house. What I've done originally is down here I put in a brass valve. And this way I have 2 systems running through here. This one goes to my RO, and this is my exterior cages. I have my exterior cages on timers so that when I'm not home, my chameleons can get water at the proper time of day with temperature. So how it starts out is we start out with the inlet for the RO system, and it comes up into, and what I did is I put an extra stage filter on. Why? It was $20, and removes the big bulk of the sediment before it ever gets to my system. These filters at the end of the day, I think are around $70 to replace. And I decided that uh, I might be able to save myself a little bit of time by putting in another one of these stage filters before it ever gets into my system. So what it does is it comes up and it's got an entry system here. And this runs me through my first sediment filter. And then what it does is it goes through that filter and then it comes up into the carbon filter, goes back in and out of the carbon filter. And then I have another pre-filtration carbon filter before it ever gets to my RO membranes. From this point, what it's going to do is, where is my discharge? This one is my, no, this is my discharge. So here I have a discharge system. Can we see that? I'm not looking at the camera. In this discharge system, I have it running to all my exterior plants in my cages. So all my exterior cages are now getting the junky water because I figured that way I wouldn't be wasting a bunch of water and just pouring it down the drain. Okay, and then so when it goes through that, so that's where most of my discharge comes out. And then what it does is it filters through the two membranes. This is what purifies the water. And what it will do at that point is it comes out of that and goes into what's called a pressure tank. Can we see the pressure tank? Can I find it?
There we go.
Find it? There it is.
There it is.
So this is the trick to the whole system. These pressure tanks actually store the purified water. So what that system's going to do down there below for you is it not only builds up the pressure to push it back through into your faucet, but it will also store the purified water. The problem with that is that, as you can see, that was only a little 10-gallon tank. So I've come up with a way of getting around that. And I don't know if you do this, Bill, but this is the way I do it. What you end up having to do down the road is if you want to have 20 gallons of on-demand water immediately, that's what's going to be inside of that tank. So you would have to go out and get a 20-gallon tank or a 100-gallon tank or a 50-gallon tank. Those tanks are pretty expensive. Once you start getting up into the 100, 200-gallon tanks, they're $300 to $500. So what I do is I use a reservoir system. As you can see, this guy comes through my system and then literally goes right into my house. Okay. And in my house, I have reservoirs for my foggers and for my misting systems. And we've been through this with the big fogger and the fogging systems. And I showed you this in our last episode. And basically what it does is it's going to go into my reservoir through this line. Now, the neat thing about the way this works is I've got a pressure switch on the inside that we learned from Sean McNeely. Let's see, where is my camera? There it is. Let's go this way. I can talk to you at the same time. And this will allow the water to come in and out. Now what I've done is I've made myself a situation where I don't need to store that water in that tank anymore. It's going to start storing it in my reservoirs. So it really doesn't matter how long it takes to fill up. My first system I put in, I had it underneath the sink in the kitchen. I had one Chameleon, and it worked great. I was able to just make enough water throughout the week with that little 10-gallon reservoir that I could fill up my tanks, fill up my cages 2 or 3 times a week, and it worked fine. But once you start getting 5 or 6 cages and you're running, 10 to 15 gallons a day in each cage with Parsons Chameleons, you run into a block. So what I screwed up on is that I started just running the hard water, and we're on a well out here, not city water, but our water's pretty tough. And you know as well as I do, Bill, that that hard water deposits are can really just they screw everything up. screw up your nozzles, they screw up your glass, they screw up your plants. Um, you build this really beautiful cage and enclosure, and then a couple weeks later, it looks like it's in a cloud, and and so I dealt with this for a while, and it basically required me to clean the cages every other day, and to actually use some of the RO water to squirt off all my plants to make sure they didn't get hard water deposits. Well, Bill and I were talking, and Bill told me about how he set his system up, and so I just went a little bit crazy with mine, because James doesn't do anything small.
That's why we have you on here.
And so that's why I set up my system the way I did. Now what happens is, over a period of every time my water system uses water, those valves will drop down, and my RO system is filling it back up over the course of the day. So it's actually able to keep up. And if I ever get in an emergency situation, I've already got in each reservoir between 20 and 27 gallons of water that's already fresh water that's being stored underneath every cage. So that's how I went about doing it. For you, if you're just doing one single cage, the under the sink method is really awesome, and I would highly, highly recommend it.
All right, so let's talk about, because I think most people are going to be in that situation where they're saying, okay, where do I put this? And the answer is under the sink. But how do you hook it up to a system under the sink?
Oh my goodness, I should have cleaned out underneath the sink. My wife's going to kill me, but should we go in the kitchen?
Sure.
Okay. She is going to be so mad because it's a mess under there. What,
It's
Bill?
going to look like all of our houses.
This is not TV ready.
Look at that, James. He's walking around looking, making sure nobody can follow him. Nobody knows what he's doing.
I think she's in the laundry room right now, so this might be a safe time to come in here. Oh my goodness.
All right, folks, let's do this quick.
I really should have prepared. This looks
do
terrible.
This quick before James gets caught.
It's terrible. I'm pulling out all kinds of crap, Bill. I am going to be in trouble. Okay, one more second here. Oh, okay, everybody, please don't mind the mess, because I just literally just pulled the whole cupboard out from underneath that my wife uses for storage of junk. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it comes with a T, and this T I've attached to my cold water inline, and that just screws onto the top of your valve and then turns around and you screw the same hose that goes back up to your sink back onto the top. And then what it does, it allows you to put this green line, which is your freshwater service, into your reservoir. And this is a different system I have in the house. This is the one I was telling you about with all the rags and crap on top of it. This was a cheaper system. You can pick one of these up for about $60-$70. And it's only a 3-stage system, but it still works fairly well for me. So anyway, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's color-coded so that even the easiest of person can figure it out. Green line is my service line that goes in. Okay. And that line that comes out of it that goes to your valve on top, which I'll show you that in a second, is this blue line. And that guy goes right up there to the bottom of your valve that you set inside of on top of your sink. It's this guy right here. You see that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this guy right here is now my RO line, and that gives me RO water. Okay. Then you have your pressure tank, which is this guy right here. This is that little 10-galloner I was telling you about. It has one line in. Oops, don't wiggle it because it'll leak a little. Okay. And then you have a discharge line that comes out, which is this black line. And what happens with that black line is it has a little saddle that goes onto the bottom of your sink, and it just clamps around each side. And basically what it does is it'll discharge all of the bad water into your sewer system. Okay. And it's really pretty self-explanatory. The only hard parts about hooking this whole thing up is putting a saddle on it, or a T on it for here, to hook up to the RO system, and then you'll put a saddle on top of your drain line that goes into your P trap. And that guy right there is a discharge. It just basically, when the water is being cleaned through the system, um, it just spits it right back out of there. And now what we have here is filters. What's kind of cool about these filters is it's a one twist, boom. You just pop that filter out like that. I'm doing this upside down, Bill. Well, there we go.
Uh-huh.
Pop this filter out like that, and you could just replace them. And they just slide right back on in there, and you just twist them back into place. These here systems, you usually want to change your filters. For this little system, I change the filters every 6 months. With the outside one, it's they say to replace the sediment filters every 6 months to a year, and they say to replace the upper top ones. You can replace, if you're really good about replacing them every 6 months. You can go almost as long as 2 years with the two top ones. And let me show you that again. I really like the 5-stage, and it wasn't that much more money. So these two filters I only have to change every year or two. These bottom ones we will change every 6 months.
Okay. And so when we're putting this under the sink, how hard is that for somebody who hasn't done plumbing before?
If you can use a crescent wrench and twist a nut, I think pretty much anybody could do this. Even the person that's really not very experienced in anything. For me, it was super, super easy. And the reward from it was just, it's called clean glass, Bill.
Yeah.
My glasses.
The experience is night and day. I will never go back.
Yeah, it's a little bit of extra work and it's a little bit of extra cost, but what you're saving, I feel, in what you're spending on filters and so on and so forth, you're saving on cleaning products and time. And when you start getting to a point where you have more than one or two chameleons, or you got a really busy lifestyle, or other animals that you have to take care of, spending 3 or 4 hours filling up water tanks and cleaning glass on a whole day on a Saturday, this will literally cut it down to a couple of hours. I have 7 cages now, indoors, and I was spending literally about 6.5, 7 hours on a Sunday rewatering and recleaning, and now I'm down to about an hour and a half a week, and more time spent feeding and enjoying my animals as opposed to cleaning cages and doing the manual labor. I have no manual labor now. The only manual labor I have is dumping buckets. And trust me, Bill, I'm trying to figure out a way to put a drainage system in so I don't have to empty buckets anymore.
I just get a self-priming pump.
The wife doesn't want me drilling holes in the wall and running my drain lines outside. So,
well, okay, you got an issue there. Yeah, I know. I was running tap water for a while, and I still have cages from that time. And the thing is, they have so much sediment. I can't get that sediment off anymore. It's literally, I scrub, I cannot get it off, and so I guess it's permanently damaged. But I mean, it's not. I use it for acclimating wild-caught chameleons who enjoy having that visual barrier between them and me. So I guess I can use it. But yeah, it's so nice to be able to have that misting going on and not having the residue on the plants or the front of your cage. So
yeah,
I recommend getting the RO system.
yeah, it's the thing is that the actual cost $200-300 for a good system, as low as $60 or $70 for a basic user system. Super easy to install, and you can even do the reservoir method underneath your sink if you wanted to. You could get the smaller bin, or you can have it up on top and just put another valve, which is something I thought about doing too at one point before I got. You can actually tap a valve into this, and literally instead of having only 10 gallons, you can fill up 27 gallons, and have this sitting up high somewhere, and have that tube going in with your float switch. You know, that's the key to the whole thing, is that float switch will keep everything from overflowing, and it'll turn the system off. And you know, now I'm filling. I only have a 10-gallon reservoir, but I'm filling one, two, three. I'm doing about 80 to 150 gallons of water for the week, and I'm able to store all of that stuff in these reservoirs. And I literally have fresh water, and I have no back and forth with the bucket and all of that stuff. You know, maybe it's a little extreme for some of our newer keepers that are just doing a single cage, single setup. But boy,
Haha, welcome to the Chameleon Academy.
right?
We do extreme.
The cool thing is the bucket fogger with the $60 RO system, and you're golden.
Yeah.
Because now you have a reservoir, a 5-gallon bucket for your fogger and your mister, and you have an RO system that literally makes 5 to 10 gallons a day. So where do you go wrong with that?
That sounds perfect. So, all right. I mean, that's as simple as it gets. The installation can be intimidating for someone who hasn't dealt with plumbing before, and know that if your plumbing is old, just taking a crescent wrench to it and trying to open it up may break it. So be ready for something like that.
Catastrophic failure. No, it won't be. And I think it's pretty easy. And you know what, Bill? Again, you know how I tell everybody, I'm always available. DM me on the DIY guys on Instagram, or DIY Chameleon guys on Instagram, or hit me up on Facebook at James Cross, or Crosscuts8 on Instagram. And I'll literally get on the freaking camera with you and walk you through it. I've got time.
Oh man, that is quite the service. All right.
It's what we're here to do. Help, right?
Well, that is exactly what we're here to do. And I think that is going to be the close of our show today. We've done RO, and all that's left now is final message.
Final message is, first of all, give us some ideas, guys. I want to know what you want us to build. Tell us something. You know, we've come up with a lot of our own ideas, but what's bugging you in your house? What would you like to see us build? And we'll try to put something together. And if it turns out awesome, or if there's something that you've built and you want to show it to us, hit me up in those DMs in Instagram or on Facebook, and maybe we'll put you on a show like we did Stephanie and Marcia.
Sounds good to me. All right then, James. Thank you very much for giving us a tour of all the places.
Yeah, now I got to go clean the damn kitchen, Bill.
You better clean that.
Your fault, mister. I'm just blaming it on you. I'm going to tell the wife, Bill made me do it.
That Bill guy.
Yeah, that Bill guy. Next time you see her, she's going to give you a licking.
Yeah, I'm going to find out all the stuff you blamed me for.
Everything, Bill. It's all your fault.
All right then, James, thank you very much. We'll see ya.
You guys next time. Go build it.